Hello Daily Drafters, and welcome to part 1 of the Wilds of Eldraine limited set review here on the Daily Draft channel. This video will cover all sorts of Wilds of Eldraine specific details from new and returning mechanics, booster pack contents, and more. Stick around later this week to catch the continuation of my Wilds of Eldraine set review with my archetype guide and pre-release guide as well. But for now, let's assign ourselves a role, strike a bargain with our opponent, and dive right in. Let's start with the brand new mechanics introduced in this set, beginning with a brand new type of token. Role tokens are being introduced here in Wilds of Eldraine, and the limited environment will include 6 unique roles. Role tokens are auras that enchant creatures and are created by various effects throughout the set. The 6 role tokens that we will see in Limited will be Cursed, Monster, Royal, Sorcerer, Wicked, and Young Hero tokens. Note that Virtuous role tokens are created only by cards in the supplemental commander decks and will not exist in the limited environment. 5 roles are strictly positive effects, and only one, the Cursed role, is a negative effect. Note that these are physical permanents on the battlefield that exist as both enchantments and tokens. Another thing about role tokens is that any individual creature can only have one role token controlled by each player attached to it at one time. If you have a creature with a Sorcerer role token attached to it, and you then attach a Royal role token to it, the Sorcerer role will disappear and hit the graveyard before vanishing as all other tokens do. However, if you have a creature with a Royal role token attached to it and your opponent attaches a Cursed role token to that same creature, both roles stay as they are controlled by different players. In the case of Embereth Veteran here, you can pay 1 mana to sacrifice this creature to create a Young Hero role token attached to another target creature. Simple as that. Our next new mechanic is a simple one, and it is Bargain. Bargain is a new ability that allows you to sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as an additional cost to cast a spell. For doing so, you get an added bonus. Think of it as a form of kicker. You can cast your spell as costed, or you can bargain it by sacrificing an artifact, enchantment, or token to increase the effect of the spell. Don't forget, role tokens are both enchantments and tokens, so bargaining away your roles might just be the right thing to do. In the case of Farsighted Ritual here, this is a 4-mana card draw spell that lets you look at the top 4 cards of your library and put 2 into your hand, but if you chose to sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast it, you get to look at the top 8 cards instead. Just a little bit of extra upside for your troubles. The final new mechanic for this set is Celebration. Celebrate is a new ability word that highlights abilities that care if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn. That's it. Some cards will have Celebration and then a set of text, and if you have met the criteria of having 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, you will unlock the additional ability. In the case of Gallant Pie Wielder, he simply has Double Strike, as long as you've had 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn. That's it for the new mechanics of the set, but what about the returning mechanics? Well, before we hit on those, I've got a quick message from me. Thanks, me. Set review season is the perfect time to consider supporting the channel via the Patreon. We have several tiers over at the Daily Draft Patreon, with rewards including access to my tier lists, early access to content, and lifetime access to the Daily Drafters Discord server. I'm incredibly proud of the continued work on my tier list, and here's an example of what these tier lists look like from Lord of the Rings. And as you'll see, I use a traditional A through F rating for every single card. I let you know if the card has moved up or down since the last update, and I give you the ability to hover over every single card and get a link to the Scryfall, clickable link to Scryfall as well. And beginning with Wilds of Eldraine, I will also be ranking every single common and every single uncommon within their own color, as well as every single removal spell in the entire set at common and uncommon, so you have a better idea of how they compare to each other as well. I'm currently working on my Wilds of Eldraine list, as you can see, and I will have this released to patrons in the Centaur Courser rewards tier as soon as I'm finished, guaranteed before pre-release weekend, and guaranteed to be updated with my experiences during early access before you head to your pre-release. Now, if $5 is a bit too rich for your blood, we also have $3 and $1 tiers that come with early access to content and lifetime access to the Discord server, a great place to hang out and discuss all the happenings of a brand new set. If a monetary contribution is not your speed, then a subscription to the channel is always enough. And now, back to the set review content. Now, we are on Eldraine after all, and what would a return to Eldraine be without the return of adventures? Adventures were the headline mechanic of our first visit to Eldraine, and they are back here in Wilds of Eldraine. So, what exactly is an adventure? Well, when you have a card with an adventure in your hand, you can choose to cast either the card as printed, or you can choose to cast the adventure portion of the card. In the case of Besotted Knight here, you have the option to cast a vanilla 4-mana 3/3, completely ignoring its adventure half, or you can choose to cast Betroth the Beast, which is a sorcery for 1 white mana that creates a royal role token attached to a creature you control. If you choose to cast Betroth the Beast, you will send this card off on an adventure. What that means is that you will exile the card after it resolves, and it will remain in exile waiting for you to cast its other half, Besotted Knight. This card remains in exile for the rest of the game, and you will have the ability to cast it whenever you're ready, still abiding by timing restrictions, of course. If you choose to cast the adventure half of the spell, and that spell were to get countered or is fizzled, the entire card goes to your graveyard, and you will not have the ability to cast the other half of the spell from exile later in the game. Finally, another important aspect of this set is the return of the bonus sheet in draft boosters with Enchanting Tales. We've seen this before with the Mystical Archive in Strixhaven, the retro artifacts in the Brothers' War, and most recently, the Multiverse Legends in the March of the Machine. Now we have the Enchanting Tales, a group of 63 fan-favorite enchantments, which will have their own individual slot in booster packs, meaning that there will be exactly one of these 63 cards in every single pack. These cards will have their own unique set symbol and will simply remain legal in the formats that they are already legal in. They will not necessarily become legal in Standard unless they are already legal in Standard. These bonus sheet cards have proven to be a massive success in the past, and we'll see if the Enchanting Tales can keep the hot streak going. Well, that does it for the new and returning mechanics that we'll see all throughout the Wilds of Eldraine. Check back here on the channel on Friday afternoon when my archetype guide for the set will release, where I will go over all 10 archetypes available to be drafted, their themes and synergies, key cards for the decks, and a spotlight on some key rares and mythics as well. This archetype guide is the perfect video to prepare for your first drafts of the new set, and to revisit throughout the week if you need any refreshers on the happenings of Wilds of Eldraine. This video is the first of 3 set review videos for Wilds of Eldraine, so if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and click that red subscribe button to stay on top of set review season here on the Daily Draft channel. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you Friday for more Wilds of Eldraine set review content.